Welcome to Clearing Up the Past. I'm Lil Bro, Millennial Dave, but you can call me David.
And I'm Big Sis Gen Xie, also known as Erin.
And we are your nostalgia historians, covering the best things from the 80s, 90s, and beyond.
So everybody take a Dr. Mario chill pill
Oh,
and get ready for a totally tubular time.
I see what you did there. And yes, if
Yes.
you've ever had dreams of blocks multicolored falling from the sky, you will have probably played Tetris or some kind of puzzle game at some point in time. And that's the topic of du jour. We're going to talk about classic puzzle games, uh,
Yeah.
video games in particular. And I'm excited about it. And I watched the movie Tetris in preparation for this, so I've got a lot to talk about. And we could jump right in there, but we'll also be doing our nostalgia news as well. So I got a really good one to talk about. You could probably guess what I'm thinking. Um, as all you have to do is look behind Aaron's head, and you probably will have an idea of what I'm ready to talk about. But
Oh.
yeah, but let's get in there. So puzzle games, huh? And I'll be interested to see kind of what you classify as a classic puzzle game because there's lots of different types of puzzle games, especially when it comes to video games. And want to talk about some of our favorites from childhood, but some puzzle games that I've played in the more recent history and how they've kind of evolved over the years. So we'll jump right in there. I will say I am ill prepared, but again, we discussed last time that preparation is not everything. We just want to pop on here and
Right.
have a convo and you know have a good time and just talk about nostalgic stuff. So we're gonna do that,
Exactly.
and I guess I'll start by saying, when you think of classic puzzle video games, is there a specific console or PC that pops into your head?
There is classic Nintendo. I mean, right off the bat. I think that's the two main for me are Dr. Mario and Tetris, and
Hmm.
those were on classic NES.
Yeah.
So,
And do you know how hard it is to find on the internet a list of the best classic puzzle games? I searched classic puzzle video games, and like it was like showing me all these modern games and stuff, which is fine because again I want to talk about that. But I'm like, no, I had to like very specifically search classic NES puzzle games, classic SNES games, so that I could pull something up here to kind of talk about and remember because there's so many games that like I was looking through some of the lists that I found. I'm like, oh yeah, that game. Oh yeah, that game.
yeah.
And I guarantee you, I'm gonna forget and leave a lot off of this list. So this might be a topic we come back around to at some point as well. But all right, so you said the two that obviously I wanted to talk about, which Tetris being like still considered to be, oh, looky there.
My husband got me this for Christmas. Yes.
For the audio listeners, Aaron has just raised up a NES cartridge of none other than Tetris. Which yeah, I mean, I think is still considered to this day to be not only one of the best puzzle games, but like one of the best video games of all time.
Mhm.
So, why do you think that is? We'll start with Tetris and we'll end with Tetris. It's all
Okay.
Tetris.
Tetris, I feel like is kind of addictive. Just in the gameplay, in the music, like the whole package.
Mm.
Um, I was looking up some of the old songs, and I think that has a lot to do with it, strangely enough.
Yeah. Oh no,
Um,
absolutely has something to do with it. That
yeah,
the like Russian like music will get stuck in
yeah,
your head for sure.
yeah.
Which we'll talk about why it was Russian music here in a little bit, but definitely, I mean, do 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 do. Like I mean, you think about it, just like instantly, as soon as you think of Tetris, you can hear it start playing in your head. Um,
Oh yeah.
and there were
Dance on the Fairies was like the main one that I remembered.
Yeah, there
Because
were.
there were like three different
That's what I
main
was gonna
songs,
say.
I think.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I think there are three different Tetris songs. All of them pretty jam doable, and like as you kind of get in that flow state, and you like the pieces are moving so fast, and you're not even thinking anymore. You've become one with Tetris, and that jam is just like pumping behind it. It gives you definitely that good vibe, and like you said, it does create a addicting um,
Right.
vibe, I guess. I mean,
I think you said that.
I could think of just sitting and taking turns with the controller, going back and forth, and man, when you got to like level 7 and then level 8 and level 9, you're just like, ah.
Yes.
don't
And I
talk to
think
me.
you said you came in the flow state.
Yeah,
You get in the zone. Yeah.
yeah.
Now with Tetris, I don't remember. It's been a long time. I haven't had the privilege of playing my cartridge yet. Did it have a versus? Could you play against each other? Like did it
No,
back to back? Okay.
no. It had, I think it had two different modes. Um, oh gosh, now I don't remember though. Did it have different modes? I don't know. I
Different
honestly
levels. But yeah,
I honestly
I'm
don't
not sure.
remember. That's terrible. I feel like a bad. Here, I'm just gonna look it up real quick.
Okay.
Tetris NES modes, and this is like not gonna give me anything. I should have looked this up before, so I'm not gonna waste a lot of time on that. Yeah, this is all talking about like new modes of new Tetris games because that's something we'll talk about here in a minute too. Because there have been several iterations of Tetris since. A couple notable ones that I've played a decent amount of, including one that is much newer. But let's talk about the movie for a moment. Um,
Okay.
so when you found out that there was a Tetris movie, I think I told you um, when we were thinking about doing this for our topic. What did you expect? Did you expect like an animated film where each of the pieces were different characters with different personalities?
Not quite to that extent, but I did kind of expect more like the movie Wizard with Fred Savage, something along
Hmm.
those lines. Yes.
Either I think you and I probably just wrote better movies in just like a couple sentences a piece than the actual movie. Tetris is based on a true story of the popularization of Tetris. So, based on a true story, I was going to do a little bit of research on this, and again, I just decided, you know what? No one needs to prepare for this. We can just fly by the seat of our pants, and that's what we're doing here. But basically, long story short, the plot. Well, here I'll tell you what IMDb says the storyline is. It's an enterprising game developer risks everything in a race to outmaneuver duplicitous insiders to negotiate a deal with Soviet Union bureaucrats for the international licensing rights to what would eventually become one of the most recognizable and widely played games in history. So it does star Taron Egerton, who you probably would know. Did you watch the Rocket Man, the um, biopic of um, Elton
Elton
John?
John.
Wow, my brain just melted for a second. I couldn't think of Elton John. Yeah, did you watch that?
No, but I did watch the trailer for the movie and I thought he looked familiar, so that's
Yeah,
probably where.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
and he was awesome in Rocket Man. Yeah, I think he did quite a lot. What? Oh, and yeah, and the Kingsman. That's right. He's from that as well. But I thought he did awesome in Rocket Man. He really spent a lot of time with Elton John and learned his mannerisms, and I thought he really pulled it off quite well. But so he's Hink Rogers in this, who apparently was a businessman who lived in Japan, and kind of put everything on the line to get licensing rights, and kind of get Nintendo involved in in producing and selling the video game console version of Tetris. Excuse me. He also like worked on getting like arcade rights, and then the big, like, not to give anything away, it really doesn't give anything away, but the big like part of this is getting handheld rights, so for the Game Boy version. Did you we didn't have a Game Boy when we were young, did we?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Did you ever play a Game Boy much, like, at all?
Uh, at friends' houses once in a while, yeah. I think Philip Smith had one. We played over there,
Oh,
and I
okay.
think he had Tetris. So
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. All right, that makes sense. Oh, Philip Smith. That's bringing back memories of going over there and playing King's Quest on his computer and stuff like that
Yeah.
all the time.
Reading
Wow, you
the
just
Mermaid.
opened you just
Yeah.
opened up a nostalgia door there for me. I totally forgot about that. And eating Munchums. They always had Munchums. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's a
His mom was
nostalgia.
a good cook. Yeah.
That's a nostalgia snack and video game memory that you opened up for me
Oh.
there. Uh, but yeah, there really a couple other people in the movie. Nobody really notable that stands out to me. Um, Toby Jones uh, is a guy that I couldn't tell you. Here, I'll see if I can name a couple movies Toby Jones has been in. You would recognize him if you saw him. Very like recognizable dude. Um, you might have known him from a little movie called Tetris. I'm just kidding. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. He was in that.
Okay.
He was in The Wonder. Um, he was in. Let's see if there's anything else I can see quickly here that I think you would know him from. Oh, he was a voice in Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, he's been in all kinds of stuff, and I'm positive you would recognize him and you've seen him in things. But yeah. Oh, one thing I remember him from quite a bit is Tale of Tales, which is a kind of like dark fairy tale movie. I don't know if you've ever watched it. Came out
No, it sounds interesting, but
came out in
no.
2015. Yeah, Salma
Yeah.
Hayek's in it. John C. Riley. It's a good movie. Like, I recommend it. It's very weird. Kira is in the background going, "It's weird." It is weird, but I recommend it. I liked it. But anyway,
Okay.
so Tetris the movie, yeah, I mean, interesting story. I don't know how much of it is actually true. I It's worth a watch. It's got, like, video game graphics and like title cards and
Mhm.
stuff, and the music and everything. So it's got a very nostalgic feel. It's long. Uh, I think towards the end I was kind of like, all right, I'm ready for this to be over. Um, but let's see if I can see what the runtime is here. It got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. If that means anything to you whatsoever. It's an hour and 58 minutes, so it is a 2-hour movie. And but what I was going to say is, so a Russian programmer programmed Tetris, the original version, and his computer was so limited that the pieces were literally parentheses, like back to back, so they made little squares, and, like, made the shapes that we obviously know and love and should be animated characters with their own personalities. um, but so it was like very basic at first, but, like, copies of it got passed around on computers, and it became more and more popular in Russia. And then obviously, um, people were going to Russia to buy software very cheaply and then take it elsewhere in the world. And then it's just like all these companies and people just fighting for it because it became wildly successful, and they're trying to get the rights to it, like I said, for arcade, PC, consoles,
Mhm.
and then handheld. And so it's kind of Hank Rogers' journey, and, like, he mortgages his house and does all kinds of crazy stuff to go all in, and then it's like a legal battle for years and years for him to figure it out. And so, very, I mean, kind of dry,
Mhm.
a little too long.
See what? Yeah, when I looked it up when you mentioned it, 'cause I had never heard of it, I didn't know this movie existed. It
Hmm.
said it was a thriller and suspenseful, so you wouldn't necessarily classify it as such.
I would classify it as like historical fiction that is stylized in 8-bit video game like nostalgia. Um,
Okay.
like I said, it's just the title cards and stuff like that in between, and um, it was cool. I enjoyed it. Did you like it? What would you give it at 1 to 100? 0 to 100 even. Kira's scores. She's tallying it up in her mind. She's like, okay, music gets it this many points. Cast gets it this many points. I can see it. She's calculating.
I'll have to
Oh,
give
she's
it.
pulling out an abacus.
I have to give it a better score than total murder, whatever that one what we just
Total,
slasher.
a totally killer.
Yeah,
Okay, so what score do you give it though?
I don't remember what I gave it.
No, what do you score Tetris? Come on. Well, while she's like
It's
doing
okay.
algebra over there,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I probably give it a 55. It's fine.
Okay.
It was fine.
Yeah. Just
Yeah. What do you give it?
I was
80. This girl, she loves every
see
movie she's ever seen.
yes.
Loves it. Loves that shit. She's like, "Oh, is this a movie?"
80.
Wow. 80.
80. The Tale of Tales, I would have given that 50.
Oh, well, she gives Tale of Tales 50, a movie that I probably would give 80. I thought we were like really simpatico on most things. We are, but we just happen to be talking about things we're not, I guess. But anyway, so you can. Aaron hasn't seen it, so
No.
our average currently with only one score is a 55. Compared to I think I realized that I totaled our average for Totally Killer. I totaled it instead of averaging it, and I also totaled it wrong as I was editing the episode. I was like, wow, I definitely did not just math right there. But I think we ended up landing on like if I went with my original score of 64, which I think in hindsight I would. I think we ended up with
Yeah.
like an average of like 60 or something. I don't know. I'll
Right.
I'm gonna make a list eventually. I probably should do that sooner than later, so I don't have to go back and watch all of our episodes that we put out. But there you go. Tetris the movie, 55 currently. Now,
Okay.
Aaron, while we're on the topic of scoring, this is our first video game score. 1 to 100. What would you rate Tetris?
Oh, it's gonna be up there, but I don't think it's quite 100.
No.
90. 90.
90's good. I think I'm gonna give it, just to be a little bit different than you, I'm gonna give it an 89, which
Oh, okay.
makes our average 89.5. Now I'll give it a 90. Well, let's just round it up. So there you go. Our official clearing up the past Tetris score, our first video game score, comes in at a 90. Kira, like 105. What would you rate Tetris? Just pulling the abacus back out. It's gonna stare at her. Just 90. Okay. We're
Okay.
see we are simpatico. While her score is not official, I like to get
Right.
it.
Even
um,
it out.
yeah. So, Dr. Mario is next in the conversation. Also, banger ass music.
Yeah.
Which I only think it had 2 songs, or did it have 3 as well?
2 songs and then like the
Yeah.
yeah. Chill and Fever.
That's right.
Dr. Mario is a game I play to this day. Yes.
Yeah.
I have another visual. Can I show you?
Yeah, please.
If I can get in the screen here. I got this for Dan
Oh.
for Easter, but I stole it.
Nice. That's actually a really cool shirt.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah.
I love it.
That is really cool. It's funny, as we were getting ready for the recording, you were like standing up and doing different things. Totally didn't even notice. But I'll show you
Yeah.
my shirt. It's got
What's yours?
it's got a Sasquatch reading a book. Actually, I think it's a D&D Dungeon Master manual. And then it's got a guy wearing a
Nice.
flannel and glasses. And he's drinking a beer, and they have a pizza, and Mothman's in front of the moon. I made this.
I need one of those shirts. I need
Yeah,
Kara to make me one.
yeah. We got lots of shirts planned, so we'll definitely be making some. We're getting good at it.
Yes, Dr. Moore. Hmm.
Oh, I just said we're getting good at it, but yeah, Dr.
Oh yeah.
Mario, go ahead.
Um, I would play Tetris now if I could too. I just don't have anything to play it on. But yeah,
Hmm.
it has stood the test of time. We play every night. We love it.
Yeah, something about those little germs, little critter bug germs. They mock me.
They
Got
literally mock you.
it. Yeah, they literally do. But yeah, no, classic, and that one did have a versus mode, so that kind of took
Yes,
it to the next level of
you could
playability.
play
And
it.
yeah,
So much fun. Yeah.
yeah, instead of just sitting there watching somebody play, you could verse each other, and
Mhm.
definitely added a different complexity to it. Which actually takes me back to Tetris. The one thing we didn't talk about is that there were two more games that I played. There's lots of different Tetris versions
Right.
throughout years and consoles. But the two that I played the most throughout the years after that were Tetris Attack for Super
Okay.
Nintendo. You remember that?
I do. I didn't play that one much, but I remember it.
I love Tetris Attack. Instead of the blocks falling, like blocks would slowly like
Mhm.
rise, and you would just switch like the two colors, like this block and this block, just boop, switch them. Um,
Okay.
and when you lined three up, they would disappear, and the blocks above them would drop.
Hmm.
And then of course you'd start getting combos, and you could do 4 and 5. And it was a versus game where when you played the single player story mode, you played against a computer, and and thus the Tetris Attack, because when you would do combos or 4 move or 5 move, it would drop like a big block on top of the opponent's blocks and make it get them closer to the top of the screen, because when you're at the top of the screen, just like Tetris, obviously you lose. So like you would drop these like big blocks that were hard to get rid of. I think you had to make a connection of at least 3 that were touching those blocks, and then they would turn into other blocks or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but also good music, good graphics. It had a lot of the Nintendo characters, so like Yoshi and Mario and Toad and other characters, Kamek and other characters that you could play as or against. It was pretty chill. It was a cool game.
I remember
It
that as much. I must not have played that one very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I liked it quite a bit. Actually, I played that one a lot. I liked it quite a bit. Also very addicting. And then the last one is Tetris 99 on the Switch, which is the most recent, where you literally are playing against 99 other people to see how
Oh,
long you can last. And then, if you're the very last person standing, then you win. I played it a decent amount, and I got to like the top 3 a couple of times, but I never won.
I'm gonna write it down because I didn't know that existed.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I think it still
Um,
exists, because
Okay.
They also did Mario 99, where you played against a classic NES Mario against 99 other people, and you would just run through a level over and over and over and over again. And like doing things like killing Goombas and stuff made um, more enemies for your opponents and stuff like that. And then the last person still playing won that too. But they put that at a commission like a couple months after it came out. It was like a very limited thing. But I
Mhm.
think I think Tetris 99 is still a thing. So I think it's a free download. You should definitely check
Oh,
it out.
yeah, I'll look at it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Dr. Mario 1 to 100. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way here.
Uh, that's slightly higher for me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say 93.
I'm gonna say 92. So
Okay.
an average of 92.5 this time. You want to get your abacus out? Did you ever play Dr. Mario?
Not much.
All right, she doesn't count then.
Okay, that's
I mean,
fair.
do you have an opinion on it though?
I wasn't good at it.
Did you like it more or less than Tetris? Oh, she liked it less than Tetris. She said she wasn't very good at it.
Oh,
That's okay.
I played it on Game Boy.
I think my score's slightly higher just because of the versus mode.
Yeah, same here. And while I do like the music of Tetris, some Fever and Chill are some frickin' jams.
Do you remember Dad would make up words to those songs? I don't remember them specifically, but
Must be where I got
yeah.
it.
That...
I'm notorious for making up songs, especially if there's a catchy tune like that. So, um, just if you ever need me to sing the diaper changing song on this podcast, let me know. I've sang it on other podcasts. So,
Okay.
um, okay, cool. So, any other NES puzzle games that stand out to you?
Um, no, there's a couple that I think are Super Nintendo,
Okay,
but I'm
then
also not sure they count as puzzle games.
hold that thought, and we'll get into that. So,
Okay.
I pulled up this list, and it's not a very good list. It's a game rant list. Number one,
Okay.
they're saying the number one Nintendo puzzle game they're saying is Solomon's Key. Never played it.
I was gonna say when I was talking about this with Dan, he mentioned that one.
Mm.
I didn't. I've never played that one. We watched a little YouTube video on it, and it looks a lot like, uh, kind of like Toddlers, where you have the blocks that you move
Oh,
and
okay.
through the in the level,
Because I'm looking at a
and
picture
you
of
have to
it, and
get a
I
key in the it.
I thought it was like a top down maze that you would like run up and down on, but it's like a platformer puzzle. Oh,
Yes,
oh yeah, that definitely looks different than what I thought it was. Huh.
he
I sh-
played that one. I never did, but
They have Tetris as number two.
okay.
They have Adventures of Lolo as number three. I remember playing that one.
Don't
Um,
remember that one.
you're like a little blue ball character, and it is a
Hmm.
top-down puzzle game where I think you would like kick rocks and have to like get them in like kind of a rock moving puzzle based to get to different areas of the map and stuff like that and kill enemies and stuff. I remember it. I played it quite a bit. Dr. Mario is four. Wario Woods is number five. I didn't even know Wario was a character on the NES. I thought that was at least
Later,
SNES and or later than
yeah,
that even.
yeah.
And then Palamedes. I've never even heard of this. It's a game with an
Mm-mm.
interesting premise, combines puzzle solving with Yahtzee.
Oh,
The player controls the character at the bottom of the play area who holds above his or her head a box that resembles one side of a six-sided dice. The character can change the value shown on the box and throw the box to the top of the play area. Cool.
okay.
Then there's one called Castle Quest. I've never heard of this either.
Mm-mm.
It says it's kind of a
Castle.
adventure puzzle hybrid with an early Metroidvania type game.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played this one. Kira recognizes it, but I don't think I ever played that one. Um, Wrecking Crew. I've heard of, never played. I don't think. Crazy Creatures. See, this is what I'm saying. Like this list is, I don't know. Never heard of that.
See, I looked up some of these and I didn't recognize a lot of them. Yeah.
And then this last one's called Yoshi, which I remember one called Yoshi's Cookies or something like that. That was a puzzle game. And this looks similar to it, but instead of cookies, it's like just Mario enemies like piranha plants,
Mm.
boos, goombas, etc. But I don't think I ever played that one either.
Mm-mm.
Weird.
And those were all regular Nintendo
Yeah.
NES.
Yep.
Okay.
So that brings us to SNES, and honestly, we might have to do another episode on this because we've already been recording for 30 minutes. So we'll go
Oh wow.
through.
Okay.
We could do one of two things. Actually, we could stop there and just say this is an NES puzzle game recap, and then we could do one on Super Nintendo later, other consoles later, and modern puzzle games later, because there are a lot of puzzle games I've played, more recently, things like Portal and other much more modern
Yeah.
puzzle games that I'd like to talk about separately. So I think we call it there, and we got two
Okay.
rankings for video games on the board. Um, Now we have two movie rankings and two video game rankings on the board. So, so I guess that puts technically, I think that put uh, Totally Killer as our number one movie so far, and Tetris
Wow.
as our number two movie so far.
I gotta rate some more movies.
Yeah, Kira
Yeah.
is shaking her head in the background as I announce that. And that puts Dr. Mario as our number one video game and Tetris as our number two video game so far. Which I mean,
Okay.
those are going to be hard to beat. Those are probably going to stay towards the
They are.
top for a while.
Yep.
We started strong. We should have started with something crappier, I think, like our
Right.
movies. But okay, cool. Well, anything else you want to summarize with NES puzzle games or the nostalgia side of that, or
I would just like your opinion on what a puzzle game is, like the definition, because I feel
mm,
like that's very broad.
mm.
But
I think a puzzle game typically is a game where you repeat a process with a set number of rules. And
okay,
you have to follow those rules to accomplish a goal. So, for example, Tetris, it's lining up a line all the way across to make it disappear. And you can do that by one line at a time, two lines at a time, three lines at a time, or four lines at a time. And so there's different complexity to solving it, but generally there's like one way to solve a problem, aka a puzzle. So
okay,
we'll talk about other games in the future that become much more complex, but even Lemmings, which we'll talk about in the SNES episode, um, while it is like a level versus just a puzzle box, if you will, it is a level. It still is you accomplishing the goal of getting Lemmings from their starting point to their end point by following a set number of rules that you are given.
okay,
So I think that's how I would describe a puzzle game. So
okay.
another example, a modern game which I love very much is Portal.
Hmm.
Portal has levels. It's 3D. It's very complex, but it has a set number of rules that you have to use in creative ways in different environments to solve getting from point A to point B.
Okay.
Whereas other like regular video games, like why Super Mario Brothers is not a video game, for example, is because yes, you are getting from the beginning of the level to the end of the level, but it's more like an action, jumping around, exploring, just playing in that space. And there's not like one way to do it. It's not like if you get halfway through solving the or halfway through the level and you didn't solve it right, the level ends. It's not like that. But in puzzle games, that is what happens.
Okay. That helps narrow it down because I feel like almost anything could be a puzzle game if you look at it a certain way. You know what I mean?
Well, especially if you kind of use that definition of what I said is like getting from one point to another point, like
Right.
in Lemmings,
Right.
like that does. But what makes that a puzzle is that like if you don't do it right, there's a solution.
Yes. Yeah.
Even in Lemmings, there's technically could be more than one solution. You can kind of mess around a little bit in some of the levels, but generally, it's
Yeah.
like this is the way you're supposed to do it, and you have to
Right.
figure that out, and that's what solving the puzzle is. I think
Okay.
kind of narrows that down a little bit. But
That sounds good to me. I'll go with
cool,
that.
cool, that works. And we may talk about some games and debate whether they're puzzle games or not. So,
Okay. I like
yeah.
that.
But that brings us to I don't remember if I have a tagline for nostalgia news, do I? I don't think I do. I need to
I don't
write
think you
one.
do.
I need to write one.
Yes.
Um, Nostalgia news. What you got on your radar?
Why don't you go first this week? I have a couple things, but
Yeah, I've got.
I don't want to take too long either.
There's a lot. There's a lot going
Yeah.
on, and yeah, I do want to kind of wrap this up. So, but yeah, like I said, behind you, you got your Back to the Future poster there, and just yesterday, Kira was looking at the news that they're making a Back to the Future 4.
Yes.
Now, my first instinct was, oh, it's April Fool's,
Right.
which you unfortunately kind of got duped a little bit with Goonies 2, which I think they do
That
every
was
single
my
year.
fault.
I think they do every single year,
Yeah.
which is why I saw it coming a mile away. You sent me that poster, and I was like, wait, what? No, no, I would have heard of this.
And
No,
my
that's
first thought actually was no, that's not a thing. But
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's why like when I heard about Back to the Future 4, which I haven't really vetted out, but Kira was looking a lot into it. It appears to be pretty legit, and is going to have Tom Holland as Marty McFly. It seems, but also Michael J. Fox is apparently going to be in it, and Christopher Lloyd is apparently going to be in it, and I'm sure the dude that was Biff, and other people will probably be in it as well. The mom, which I can't think of the actress's name.
Leah Thompson.
Yeah, she'll probably take her grandson's pants off or something because they always have to put a weird
I know.
weird nastiness
Yeah.
there. um, but yeah, so I mean, I love time travel movies. As you know, it's one of my favorite genres of movie. And I
We need to explore that one more too.
say what?
That genre. We've got to explore that genre more too.
Oh yeah.
Time travel.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Our first movie was a time travel movie. Technically, I mean, I don't know why I say technically. It absolutely was a time travel movie, but but it also didn't feel like it, because it also just felt like a slasher. But yeah, a comedy slasher. Oh, which we were
Right.
talking about actors in Totally Killer, and we didn't talk about the cop. What's the actor's name? The Asian dude. Ray Park. Yeah, something like that. Is a comedian who has been in a lot of really good movies that I recognize. And we were talking about the actors that we recognize from the movie, and I totally forgot about him. So just a little side note there on that movie. But yeah, no, I have high hopes for it. The first two movies were incredible. The third one was
Oh yeah.
a movie, and
I like the third one a lot. Again, that could be a whole other episode. I really liked it.
oh, we should definitely talk about those movies in particular, and then we'll rate all three of
Yeah.
them. Yeah, and spoilers, you probably know how I'm gonna rate them.
Yeah. But yes, we should.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. But yeah, so totally stoked about that. Hoping to learn more about that, and I'll probably talk about it again in the future in Nostalgia News as we learn more about it. But what you got? Anything other than that?
I was just going to say that we went to see Ghostbusters,
Oh yeah,
and I really, really liked it
good.
more than Afterlife. So
Oh, good.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but you got to see this movie.
Okay, glad to hear you say that. We were gonna go watch it We were gonna go watch it on St. Patrick's Day. We went out for lunch and some drinks and things, and we were gonna see it on the way home, but we didn't want to. It's longer, so we didn't want to push
Yeah.
our luck with my mother-in-law too much with watching Charlotte, and so we called it
Right.
an early night. But yeah, so definitely want to see that for sure. I need to
Right.
see. I also still need to see Dune 2,
Oh,
and
me too.
I feel like there's another one that I need to see that's out right now. Is it a superhero movie? I don't know. There's another one that I need to see. I don't remember what it is,
I can't think of anything.
okay. Well,
And
cool.
then I just wondered about the eclipse. Are you doing anything with the eclipse? I always think of Little Shop of Horrors, total eclipse. When
Yeah.
Audrey 2 comes to Earth, so
So the last solar eclipse, I was on a rooftop in Chicago,
oh,
and so that was kind of cool. That was definitely my coolest eclipse experience.
oh.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be at work, unfortunately, when it happens.
Everybody's
Um,
saying, which I mean, work happens still, so
yeah, unfortunately. So we'll get some glasses, and I'll go outside and watch it a little bit. And I'm sure Kira will help Charlotte experience it a little bit, but we will not be together as a family, so no eclipse party or anything for us. What about you?
I was invited to an eclipse party. Dylan's boyfriend's mom was having one, and
All
they were
right.
right in the line of totality where they live.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah, that's the
I'm
other
gonna
thing.
go there.
Go ahead.
Sorry, there's gonna be like 180,000 people in the town, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but it should
Yeah,
be cool.
yeah, that does sound cool. Yeah, that's
Um,
the other thing. Here in North Carolina, we're not in the path of totality, so I mean, it'll still be
uh,
cool, but and
yeah,
I'm sure it won't be like that off, but
right.
yeah. Okay, cool. Well,
That was all I've got. Yeah,
puzzle games done. Well, at least NES puzzle games. We've
part
that
done. Yes.
that episode is in the can. Anything else you want to say about puzzle games or nostalgia news or anything else?
I think puzzle games could go on like even before NES.
Oh yeah,
There's
that's a good
Cubert,
point.
there's Rubik's Cube, there's Perfection. Yeah, we're gonna have to cover
Yeah, yeah. There's
more than one time for
a lot of
now.
nostalgia stuff wrapped up into puzzle games. That's a good point. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm actually getting some ideas. Okay.
See?
Yeah. Anyway, uh, like Jumble and other like newspaper like games and stuff popped in my head too,
Oh
and like
yeah.
associations with our grandparents and stuff. But anyway,
Mm.
until next time, nostalgia nerds. I've been Millennial Dave.
And I've been Gen Xe
When you're feeling lost in the fog of the modern mundane, don't fear.
because we're here clearing up the past.
Yeah, we are. Bye. Alrighty. That
I
was it.
remembered this time.
Yeah.